Hey Shelby.
Hi Maria. Welcome to Sonoma County. Come on in. It's a little bit hot today, so I figured we can have our chat inside, keep it a little cool. So come on in.
So, do you have some time for 21 questions?
I'm happy to answer some of your questions you have for me.
Awesome. So what type of photographer are you?
What kind of photographer am I? Well, I do a little bit of a few things. So I'm a travel, lifestyle, automotive photographer. I shoot a little bit of everything. Sometimes I'll be out shooting a winery and sometimes I'll be shooting a new vehicle. So it varies.
Being somebody who travels so much, how has the pandemic affected you?
Oh gosh, the pandemic, it absolutely affected me like everyone. So it put everything on pause. I mean, you think about the automotive industry to travel, I mean, absolutely everything stopped. So in a way, it was, I don't want to say this in a way, but it was a bit of a blessing because I got to catch up on some things that were in the back on hard drives and play a little bit of catch up editing some videos and going through some collections of photography that I hadn't yet edited, update a website. Also, I got to work on some development projects that I've been meaning to do that I finally had time to do. So it was beneficial.
What was your first camera?
My first camera was a Canon 5D Mark II, and I used that camera when I was first starting out and as a professional photographer, was shooting at the racetrack and shooting endurance sports car racing. So that's not normally the camera that would be at the racetrack, but it worked beautifully and I got a lot of great shots with it, so yeah.
What's your go-to camera now?
My go-to camera, well, it varies depending on what I'm shooting. Because I shoot so many different things, I really have to consider different gear. What I do love shooting with, I have this Hasselblad X1D II, and this is a great camera. I've taken this camera with me to a lot of great, amazing travel shoots. I shot with it in Martinique at the Carnival. I've shot with it with Ferretti Riva yachts in Sarnico, Italy, and so this is a great camera. I also use my Mavic 2 Pro as well for a lot of my shoots. So, but I've shot with a few other cameras. I've shot Sony. Sony has been great. I was in Costa Rica shooting the fire dancing. So I used a Sony camera for that, and Canon, I have a long time experience working with the Canon cameras as well at the racetrack and some faster scenarios, so yeah.
And favorite lens?
My favorite lens, on this camera, what I have right now is a great lens. It's a 35 to 75 zoom lens that Hasselblad has that they came out with about a year and a half ago, I think it was. And it's great. I don't know how many people really like zoom lenses, but I'm a fan of it because it allows you to act quickly when you're in situations where things are happening and you're not always running and gunning, but you have to be prepared for any kind of situation. It's nice to have the zoom lens on and be able to be really flexible and act quickly, so yeah.
And you also shoot video, right? What's your go-to there?
I personally don't shoot that much video. The video I do shoot is on this guy, on a drone. I shoot for all the video productions we do. I do a lot of videos where I'm on camera, being a bit of a host, but taking you through my experience as a photographer to a lot of different places. And so I'll be often shooting the stills, but I do shoot the video for the drone stuff. So any of the drone footage is typically shot by me. Yeah, the Mavic 2 Pro with the Hasselblad camera on it, it's a great tool, so.
You seem to have really mastered that editorial look. All of your images look like they belong in magazines. How did you master your style?
Well, that's a very nice compliment, and thank you very much for that. How I got to my look is really taking in the feel of the location or the person, the subject. And so color, I think, plays a big part of that. So in my photos, I use a lot, color plays a big role in my life. My wardrobe is pretty black, white, grays, and creams, and pretty neutral, but in my photography, I think color is just such a beautiful and powerful element, and I use that a lot, as well as looking at the lines, looking at when I was first shooting racing photography, you could get a shot, anyone can shoot a car on the track or a motorcycle, but what are you bringing to that? And so playing with shutter speed and thinking about the speed element is something to really consider. So yeah, thinking about the composition, lines, shape. First and foremost, I'm an artist, so I always did art growing up, and that, I think, it comes in line with my photography, so yeah.
What's your favorite part of what you do?
Ooh, my favorite part of what I do is by far the people I get to meet in the travel. So traveling around the world, you get to experience other ways of being, other ways of living, other cultures. And I find that to be the most powerful learning experiences through traveling and going out there and seeing the world. If you're ever feeling down or depressed or anything, or I don't know, you're in your bubble, the most powerful thing is to get out, get in your car, get on a plane if you can, and go to another place and see and observe and notice, because we are very small and there are so many other ways of being. And I think that's why I do what I do, is to go out there, photograph, observe, capture a moment and bring it home and share, because I think there's so many things we can learn from so many other people and other cultures, and you'll be surprised at how much we all have in common. I mean, I've met a lot of different people, from swamp buggy racing in South Florida to the Monaco GP F1, you know, so there's a lot of different people I've come across, and I think that's so cool. You can find wonderful things about so many different kinds of people, so yeah.
You shoot from landscapes to portraits to aerials. Do you have a favorite?
I love shooting so many different things. The perfect combination is when different genres kind of intermix and intertwine into each other. It's like when I've traveled and shot automotive, whether it be like in Cuba, shooting the car culture there, and the amazing old vehicles with the great people. That was really cool. Here you go. I have a little visitor here. Give me a second here. Let's see. She wants to be on camera. So yeah, intermixing. Oh, what's wrong? This is my mad face cat. She's very happy usually, but she just continually looks very mad. But anyways, so yeah, shooting the car culture in Cuba. And I shot this all titanium car in Torino that was a one of a kind, and got to meet the people that built it and the designer. That was really, really amazing. Yeah, I think it's not just one set thing. I love shooting with my drone as well. This is just a unique perspective to look down, and almost like a bird perspective, see and play with shapes and lines, and yeah, so.
Do you have any projects you're working on or coming up?
Yes, I always do. I have always something cooking. So, like I mentioned, during the pandemic, was working on some development projects, some series. I can't talk about it because we're in pitching mode. So, but they're exciting. They're in the genre of travel, and so there's those. And then shoot-wise, as far as video and stills, I have a shoot in Colorado that's coming up that's shooting a wild Mustang ranch, and then Costa Rica potentially again, and Italy. There's a tour I'm going to be doing in Italy. So, are you falling off? I'm so sorry, princess. But yeah, so there's quite a few things. But yeah, I'm excited. It looks like I'm going to Alabama to be shooting in the South. So I've never been to Alabama, and that'll be interesting. I'm excited. So,
What's been one of the coolest shoots you've ever done?
oh, that's a hard one, just because there's a few. One that stands out was I went to Tunisia and shot in the Sahara Desert. And that was interesting just because it was completely different. So that stands out. And Monaco was a dream. The first time I went to Monaco and to go to the F1 race, I thought, oh my gosh, I never thought I would be there. So there was that, and at the same time there was a Sting concert that happened at the yacht club that I was out, and I'm like, how am I here? What? I've always been a fan of Sting, so that was like a dream. And Cuba, I mean, that was, like I said, the car culture and the people are so friendly. So yeah, there's a few things. There's a few places.
And what about one of the most challenging shoots?
The most challenging shoot that pops into my head is I shot in Guantanamo Bay, of all places. That was really unique. So that was a little bit difficult because there was regulations of where exactly I could shoot and where I couldn't. So I had to be, it was regulated a lot. So that was tough. So yeah.
Favorite country you've been to?
Italy. I will happily go to Italy anytime. I love Italy. Their lifestyle and the people are just so friendly, and the food and yeah. So we'll try putting you down. Italy, and then let's see, Tunisia. That was amazing. But yeah, I also just locally enjoyed Key West. That was a fun road trip down the Key West and shoot super boat. So yeah.
And what about favorite food?
Oh, how can you choose one? I love all kinds of foods, but I would say I love Thai food and I love Italian food. Yeah, I love it all though.
You've captured so many cool cars. What's been your favorite?
I get asked that question a lot, like, what's the coolest car you've photographed? And there's so many different kinds. There's classic cars that I've photographed and classic racing cars from the different Concours d'Elegance kind of events and historics in Laguna Seca Raceway. But the car that stands out to me the most is the all-titanium Icona vehicle, a supercar. It was built in Torino, Italy, one of a kind. I had made that connection by going to Concours d'Elegance and saw their concept vehicle, and they were making the actual thing that year. So I caught up with them the following year and went to Torino and saw in their private facilities where they make all the different concept cars for the different manufacturers, and they had the Icona car there. And then what was really cool is we took it up the hills above Torino for its first drive. So that was pretty awesome, and to do that for Automobile magazine was that was a good shoot. It stands out, and that was an interesting car.
And bucket list location?
Oh, bucket list. I would say I have two. I think always had an interest to go to Egypt. I'd love to see the pyramids, and the history there is just so fascinating. So Egypt and Morocco. Morocco just seems really exotic and beautiful. I'd love to see the bazaar and all the art and everything. So yeah, maybe I can do those two in one trip.
Summer or winter?
Summer. I love summer. Summer is, I have an appreciation for all the different seasons, but I'm much more of a warm person or more of a warm weather person. So yeah, for sure, summer.
If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?
I would say I'd be an archaeologist. Archaeology has always been intriguing to me and fascinated by it. So yeah, archaeology.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received is if there's something that really intrigues you, go for it. You know, don't hold regret. You know, because you'll just be wondering the rest of your life, what if? And so I live by that, is just go, no regrets, go for it, seek it. If you fail, it's okay, because you tried, and just do the best that you can. So that's what I follow by.
What is your favorite piece of gear?
My favorite piece of gear, I have two, and I've already talked about them, but the Mavic 2 Pro. This is a fun, amazing tool that I love to use. I love it because it's so portable, and I can take it with me anywhere, and the quality of the camera is just amazing on it. So that's a favorite tool. And then this guy over here, the Hasselblad X1D. I mean, this camera, the quality that it shoots is unbelievable. I remember when I took it to Martinique and shot the Carnival, and I mean, the girls probably wouldn't like this, but photographing the girls with all the face painting and the glitter and everything, I could see their pores and the little glitter pieces. It's incredible.
If there were to be a movie about your life, who would play you?
Oh man, that's the hardest question yet. It's like, who would play? I really don't know what actor I would relate or be compared to the most. I'm not sure, but if I were to choose one on the basis of who I really like and appreciate, I love Cate Blanchett, and I love Nicole Kidman or Uma Thurman. I know they're all very different, but I would be completely honored if any of them would want to play me.
And who should we interview next?
I would say I have a good friend that is a established wildlife photographer, Susie Esterhaus. She is an amazing photographer, and she travels the world photographing every kind of wildlife, any animal, you name it, she's probably photographed, and she's just such a humble, amazing human being. So I would say Susie.
Okay, I'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much for answering all of my questions.
It was nice to have you. Thank you for coming and stopping by, Maria. So yes, thank you, and I appreciate you coming and being with me and seeing my place. So I do got to get back to it, so I'll let you go and I'll get back to you.
All right, bye.
Thank you, bye.